welcome to another week of the Abuse Cartoons live stream. So let me know in chat if the sound is okay. I got my microphone in a weird higher place this time because previously I kept hitting it anytime I would be using the keyboard, so now it's kind of above me, but that may sound a little different. So let me know how things are sounding, and it's good to be back. Hey, how's it going, K5? Yeah, just another week of doing this. So sorry a little bit late. This is the new day, and we got a little bit of a late start today. We've already gotten into the rainy season, and the rainy season is it should be happening in June. We're, the middle of May, so we're getting it a couple weeks early, and that means probably summer is going to be a couple weeks early, and that's just going to be a lot of a lot of hot, sweaty nightmare. So yeah, we'll see how this goes weather-wise, and that also could change typhoon season and all that good stuff. So this could be one heck of a year. Yeah, I saw somebody was posting, some travel site or whatever was posting that Japan is trying to open back up to tourism this summer, and they still have huge numbers. They still have 1,000 a day, infection numbers. So I don't know how they think they're going to do that. And they're way behind in vaccines, and they're half-assing their lockdown stuff. So they're locking down, but it's real selective and odd, and I can't tell what's going on. Yeah, one thing that I heard that was really sad, and I didn't think Japan had. I knew, like, in the U.S. and a lot of other countries this was the case, but I didn't know that happened here. I thought there was poverty, and basically poverty was more under control here. But during this lockdown time, they were talking about, hey, how's it going, K5 is not being helpful with my quality check. So poverty here, this was a little bit surprising. So it was required, or they tried to make standard during this lockdown, which is now extended to the whole month of May, that kids in public schools would learn remotely. And I guess they half executed that, or kind of half did that last year. And so I don't know why this is such a new topic, because I think this was already covered. But the difficulty is a lot of people don't have home computers anymore here. They just have tablets and smartphones, and going to class on your smartphone and looking at Zoom windows or whatever is pretty insane. So a lot of people have kind of given up having a family computer. So devices are a little bit of a difficulty for home school, remote school stuff. And the other thing that came up, and this is the poverty thing that I was really surprised by, is the school lunch, which you don't have to pay separately for. It's just kind of, included free. Just anybody that wants it gets it. Especially in elementary school, for some kids, that is still the only meal they get in the day. Like that's the only meal they eat all day. And so then they don't have. I remember when I was a kid, they had like breakfast programs. Like if kids came to school early and didn't have, their parents didn't provide any breakfast or whatever, they could have in the cafeteria, like a breakfast. There was some special program in regards to that. But yeah, so that came up here as well. So I was a little bit surprised, because I thought, kind of literacy and poverty were the levels were illiteracy was low and poverty was low. But I guess that's not the case. And as Japan has more, their immigration opens up a bit more too, they're going to have, especially with this time, I'm sure there are companies that went out of business, and people that lost their work and possibly lost their ability to be here because of visa problems or whatever. But that was a little bit surprising that So those kids will still go to school, or still allowed to go to school just to have lunch. That's really, it was really sad. But yeah, I didn't think that was quite the case here. But I guess, that's the case everywhere, all over the world. But yeah, so it's just kind of a mess here. And the latest poll was like 60% of Japanese don't want to have the Olympics this year. And there's been no official announcement by the government or the Olympic Committee or anything that I've read about, at least so far. So who knows what is happening. It would really suck if they canceled everything last minute. I mean, there's a lot of athletes that are, I'm sure, very anxious about this decision making. And the funny thing is, the Olympic Committee, like, if they say you should have the Olympics, we can see no reason why you can't hold Olympics in your country, and the host country refuses, then they have to pay a big fine. So they get their money either way. So we'll see what's going to happen, and we'll see if countries can start to boycott, because the numbers are not going down. I thought for sure they would start faking them to make it as safe as possible. But there's been like a little bit of protest, and some of the small towns that have offered to host the teams, like, I guess, do like bed and breakfast or dormitories or whatever. I don't know how they do that, have backed out. So they had a few hundred little towns and things set to do that, and a lot of them are saying, no, we changed our mind. Not a lot of them, some of them. So that's beginning. So we'll see what happens with this. It's so close. It's like, what, 60 days, like 2 months away. So I have no idea, maybe less than that. I don't know what the official start date is. So yeah, I'll let you know what we hear on the front lines of the Summer Olympics 2020 +1. That's how they're advertising it. They're calling it the 2020 Olympics +1 because of the delay. Yeah, so kind of a mess. And like everybody is saying, the government has botched, mishandled the bad weather in the global illness. It hasn't been managed well, but yeah, I don't think there's much of a precedent, especially with this cheap, frequent global air travel. I don't think handling a pandemic is going to be possible. So we'll see. A baby chicken. A baby chicken. What would I do with a baby chicken? They were just talking about that. Some podcast I was listening to was talking about that. That was a real common thing. Like maybe they still did it in the 60s, like 50s and 60s. I'm having a lot of trouble speaking. In the 1950s and 60s in America, they would have baby rabbits and baby chicks, baby chickens, as Easter gifts for your children, and they would probably like food coloring and I don't know, an airbrush or whatever. I don't know what they would use. They would color the chicks, because chicks are kind of light yellow, whitish, kind of downy, little fuzzy coat on them, and so they would dye them pink or yellow or green or blue, kind of pastel kind of Easter colors. And I remember. So and then you have a chick for Easter, and that's nice, but rapidly it grows up. And the funny thing, my mother told me that she got one of those, or that I think maybe they all received one of those for Easter one year, because there was like, I don't know if it's pet stores or probably there's a lot of like pop-up shops that were selling those. And one of the chicks was a boy, so they had a rooster, and they kept the rooster, I think, in the basement. But So they kept it, and it grew up to be a full adult. And guess what roosters do at like 4 a.m. or like, the break of dawn? So they had a crowing, crowing rooster in their little suburban house as a kid, because yeah, those baby chick Easter presents grow up. And that's crazy, because I'm sure most families just got rid of them. I don't know. I don't know. You can donate chickens or whatever. I'm sure a lot of families just dump them or abandon them. Um, but yeah, that came up again. That was a thing I completely forgot. So yeah, baby, like, because they're very cute, and probably very cheap for the sellers. Baby chicks and rabbits were popular little Easter presents in the U.S. Like in closer to my parents' childhood. It's pretty crazy. Oh, nice. Yeah, and I heard. I guess they. I don't know if they. I guess they sex the chicks, like if you buy, because I've even seen that. That tells you a little bit about how countryside I lived for a little while. I was at the post office waiting in line, and ahead of me was a guy holding a cardboard flat of little like compartment box or whatever with little holes in it, and it was just a little, like almost like a pizza box looking type box of baby chicks, and they were just going to be sent, because I guess they can travel, because right after they're born, I don't know, right after they're born, they have like enough of the egg sac or whatever, like they have another like food inside of them that they can continue to digest. So right after they're born, they don't need to feed immediately, so they can travel. But they're also talking about how, because you don't want a bunch of male, you only need one rooster, you only need one male for all of your, if you're raising chickens. And so they just euthanize a lot of the male. When they sex them and find out they're male, there's not a huge demand because you only want one. So they gotta just kill a bunch of boys, kind of like opposite of one child policy in China. They got to euthanize all the boys because they don't need. They're not as in demand because they don't lay eggs. They just make a lot of noise and fertilize the eggs. But yeah, that was funny. I'd forgotten about that story. My mother told me that story a long time ago about a chicken or a rooster in their basement because of Easter. Yeah, but I think that practice stopped by the time I was a kid. That wasn't a thing anymore. I think PETA and everybody was much more involved. Nice. Yeah. So it's that is a funny thing. They do all kinds of odd disposable gifts in the suburbs, especially that post-war era. Yeah, that's really funny. But oh yeah, what was that? There was something else that made me think of. Yeah, I forget. Kind of animal gift or animals in the mail. I forget. Yeah, that was the funniest thing though. Seeing baby chicks just being sent at the post office, just being mailed off in the post office. Yeah, what was that? Oh yeah, I talked about the egg vending machine. So in the not really very countryside, still kind of just small town, not suburban, but just kind of small town, Japan. Um, Actually, it's the station near my daughter's school, so it's kind of suburban, I guess, kind of, but not suburban, bedroom community more, because it's connected on the train line. I was walking into the neighborhood and doing like the at-home lessons for the family, and on the way to their house there was an egg vending machine. So the local farmers can have vending machines of their eggs. So just inside, it looked like a an automat. Like they were just, you put coins in and just open a little door, and there's a little basket of eggs in each of these, kind of, maybe the doors were this big, so a little basket of maybe like a dozen eggs, in each of these. So not a carton of eggs, literally a basket of eggs, like a little plastic tub that was full of eggs, and they were like, all different kind of multicolored, so maybe, I don't know, different contribution, farmers or types of chickens or whatever. And I thought that was really interesting. And here they don't refrigerate eggs because I guess they use a different process to clean them, so they don't worry so much about the about contamination. So they would probably refrigerate it in the thing, but you would just take them with you. And the funny thing is, that you could have that here. Like, it would never connect. Like, kids would never get the idea, wow, I can buy a dozen eggs unrestricted, unmonitored from a vending machine, and then go do whatever I want to with a dozen eggs. I could just imagine, like, as a kid, that would have been a total nightmare. I mean, everybody in the neighborhood would be scraping together their pennies to buy eggs so they could throw them at cars or throw them at somebody's house or whatever. I can't even imagine how poorly that would have gone. But that was such an oddity here, and spoke a lot about how much less juvenile crime there is in Japan. But an egg vending machine. And I'm sure there's parts of the U.S. that have things more like that, where it's just small towns and everybody knows everybody. So if you're going to do something stupid like that, they know your parents, and you're not going to get away with it. But that was really funny. All right, so here's a joke about various types of the same sort of, I don't know what this is. Yeah, so I'll just do comparing brands of whoa, let's see, does this work? Yeah. Sizes and brands of various, whatever this is. Whatever they did, there was a tremendous variety. Something like that. Oh, sorry, chicken. Okay. Let me see what I can do. Sorry, I. Hey Joe, how's it going? So a baby chick. I don't know if I can pull this off. Let me see. So a baby chick. Maybe not white. Let me see. I can't even remember the last time I've seen a yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get away with with white, or with doing a black outline. Oh, baby chick. All right, I think they've got what more than that, mini toes. I don't know how baby that reads, but I was trying to do fluffy. Does that read as fluffy? A baby chick. It looks maybe a little bit older. I think I've got a more mature. There we go. Chapstick or condoms? Yeah, it could be either way. Yeah, I was trying to think of some odd product that there would be like various brands of. Yeah, condoms would be good. Condoms would be funny. I think the package is a little bit weird. Yeah, the shape. It's intentionally supposed to look odd. There's my best shot at a fluffy chick. I don't think their wings are have that much going on. There we go. Thank you. Yeah, that was my best try. I'm not sure of the proportions because I'm trying to imagine. But yeah, that's a very cartoony version. So yeah, I think I'm just going to do a series of odd products. Yeah, that was the weird thing. I forget where I was reading that, but they were talking about companies, take advantage of brand loyalty, and we develop brand loyalty just because the kind of post-industrial world, there's so many competing brands of things, and you don't really feel that. And maybe American grocery stores, you feel that a lot more than maybe in Europe or Asia, where you just have a cereal aisle, where it's just an entire aisle of breakfast cereal, or just so many drinks or juice or whatever. Like certain types of products, there are such an infinite amount of flavors and especially companies that make things that to kind of mentally deal with that, you just kind of you develop this brand loyalty where we're a Pine Sol family or whatever. You come up with a loyalty to a brand, because that makes, I mean, could you imagine, like, if you just went in blind, and a lot of people, I think that's how coupons work as well. Like, people will buy something they've never bought before if they have a coupon for 25 cents off or whatever. So that gets people to betray their loyalties a little bit. But if you just went in blank and we're just gonna like read packages and ingredients and like compare prices for every single product you bought, the burden of actually shopping for just household stuff would be enormous. Like, it would be a huge undertaking. So you just kind of have, you just say, I don't care about the brand, I just buy the store brand because it comes from the same factory and it's relatively the same quality. Or you get this weird brand loyalty and just you easily recognize the packaging and everything. And so we need spaghetti sauce, so I always buy this brand, and it just like eliminates the kind of mental work of dealing with just that what's that called, there's an expression for that, like the confusion of too many choices kind of means that. But yeah, that sort of thing is funny, and it's interesting how companies take advantage of that. They want to get you kind of and I think like things like Coca-Cola and even like Apple or Xbox or whatever, they've done a lot to kind of nurture the brand loyalty to I'm an iPhone user, so I just buy a new iPhone every time I need a phone. Thank you. Thanks for the scores, everybody. K5 you're like the Russian judge. You're always harsh. Nice. Yeah, sorry, I was getting on late. So yeah, take it easy. Thanks for stopping by, and yeah, thanks for suggesting a chick. Yeah, yeah, it is dumb. It is dumb, but it's like a weird kind of like I think a psychological. Uh, you kind of need it in order to just make life easy. Just like I drink Pepsi, I eat Fritos, I don't know, whatever, and it just makes that whole the insane amount of choice much less psychologically damaging. All right. Yeah. Well, take care. uh, yeah. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, getting a little late start this week, so it's very late, I'm sure, for people tuning in. Yeah, we missed Easter, didn't we? That's right. I didn't do anything for Easter. But now I have an Easter cartoon I can pull out at any time. All right. Let's see what we can do on another page. Yeah, a lot of that, though, when they talk about, there documentary about the sinister algorithms that you know use psychology to manipulate us to do things. And that reminds me a lot of all that talk, I guess, like in the 60s, like when advertising like really cranked up their methods, and were really trying to figure out how to have dramatic results in advertising or product design or whatever. It reminds me of that. There was a lot of like conspiracy about, they're flashing words, on TV commercials. They're flashing words to make you hungry or want to buy something or whatever. And I think we're just doing that all again, is giving way too much credit to this like fake psychology of. But I guess though, they need that, like advertisers and people trying to figure out, because otherwise it's just trial and error. And that's what, a lot of advertising is, especially like internet advertising now. You just try different campaigns, focus at different demographics, and you see what kind of results you get. And instead of doing that, coming up with some methodology or some approach, this is how we do it, this is how we think, this is who we're targeting and what we're doing, and, trying to base it in psychological like manipulation is a little silly. But I think we're back to that. I think because of the newness of online advertising, people are grasping at that kind of nonsense again, where instead of just spending a decade throwing things at the wall and finding out what actually is successful, they're trying to they've got all of these kids coming out of schools that they've paid way too much money for, telling them, wow, we read my dissertation was on the psychology of candy wrappers, and they have these smart ass kids trying to figure stuff out. Because I just couldn't believe how up their own asses all of the people were that they interviewed from like Facebook and Google and whatever, all the big social media, and trying to explain, we've done a horrible thing, it's Pandora's box, we've let this thing out, and there's no putting it back in, and it's controlling your mind, and it's making you do things. And it's just bullshit. It's these people that convinced that they're smarter than you. And I hope that goes away soon. So I'm really tired of that weird condescending like technology class looking down at people and saying, ugh, I can tell by your cookies you're just not as educated as we are. Yeah, anyhow, what am I complaining about now? I'm glad John isn't on this stream. Oh man. My loyal patron John would be laughing at me right now about my complaining about everything. Oh, wow, you got to change. Oh, man. All right. Yeah, sorry, K5. Oh, that's good, though. That's good. Things keep going. Good for you. You've got steady employment is a good thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I just think it is just because they're facing the task of trying to market to people or trying to get people's attention is becoming more and more difficult. So they have to justify their methods in really silly ways. I gotta stop drawing boxes here. I think we're beyond boxes. Oh no. Arguing on stream about, oh sorry, my chat is cutting off here. About about having kids. Oh yeah. That's a tough one. Yeah, that's a real tough one. And usually, I mean, this is huge stereotype, but usually the guy defaults. I don't know. Maybe that's not true anymore. But like for my generation, the guy defaults to, we can do this, and anytime, and earlier the better. And women are like, they want to be financially stable. They want to like want to have everything, want to have a house, want to have whatever, you know, as much stability and as much financial security as possible before they feel ready. And that's a mistake, I think, because kids when you're young, even if they have to grow up poor or grow up without, are so much healthier. You know, so having kids, you know, too close to 40 is not what you want to do. I mean, there's a lot more help now. There's a lot more medical help for those situations, and a lot more testing, so you know if anything's gone wrong. But yeah, I don't know. But so many people that have kids young regret it because they feel like they missed out some part. They missed, you know, some part of their life. But yeah, that's really a tricky question, and every couple is going to have a completely different, you know, dynamic or argument, and just based on your own experience, like, you know, experience in your family. Like, you know, some people want to have a big family because they were an only child, or they want to have a big family, you know, like many siblings, or, you know, have many kids because they had a big happy family. You know, they always had they never were lonely. They always had a brother or sister to rely on. So it's funny, people's experiences of their own childhoods play heavily into what they want to do with their kids. I don't know what this is, but yeah, that's always a funny argument. But kids aren't that expensive until, you know, there's at certain points they get more expensive. But little kids are not that crazy expensive. It's much more affordable than people think, because people think about, well, I have to buy a, you know, $500 stroller and a, you know, $1,000 bed and whatever. Like, you know, if they want to do it like a magazine, if they want to, you know, raise a kid like they saw in a magazine, it's gonna be expensive. But yeah, kids don't need a lot. Little ones, they just need you around. That's the other thing too, is then once you have kids, the decision of who gives up their career or daycare, and that's a tough one. And they try to. They have terrible. There's almost very limited, very pathetic daycare here in Japan, and some of it's kind of state run, so it's government workers watching your kids, which I can't even think of a worse, you know, possible combination of things. But and then it's like a lottery to get into them because they're so needed. But to try to alleviate some of that, they'd start kindergarten at 3 years old here, which I think is a real mistake for some kids. I think that's way too early, and there's a lot of things they could do at home if they have a parent at home. They're better off. I think early learning and things at home with a parent, but you know, that's to try to take the burden off of the working parents. I think especially as soon as possible is that kids start school pretty early here, like standard school. Mm. Oh, interesting. Oh, yeah, Joe. Yeah, so Joe's talking about, yeah, if you see your dad smoke or drink, that you'll imitate that behavior. Yeah, yeah, that's funny. Yeah, my mom was a real smoker, like an on and off smoker, but I never uh, yeah, picked up the habit. And I think it was kind of like a bonding thing with her and her father, because they would always be caught smoking. Like, whenever we'd visit them for holidays or whatever, they would always be caught in the garage smoking when both of them had quit, you know. So that was I think that was kind of a bonding thing. Yeah, I think it just depends on like what that represents and how that fits. But a lot of things like that, you can't avoid. Yeah, you can't avoid playing out kind of the skill. Like your parents give you your idea of what it is to be an adult or a parent or whatever, and you kind of play out that script unless you get another example or something that's going to disrupt that view. You end up just defaulting to a lot of the weird stuff your parents kind of programmed you with. But yes, yeah, similar to like seeing them smoking and stuff. It's raising kids. The price of raising kids is funny, because if you're talking about like all the way through university and everything, yeah, it's insanely expensive. But kids don't do much of anything when they're little, and there's so many ways you can. There's a lot of programs too. There's a lot of support programs for early kids and stuff. You have there's so many ways to do things. That's the problem, is if you have a very specific idea about what disposable diapers and organic baby food and whatever, it's going to get expensive. But there's a lot of ways to cheap out, and especially if you have good timing and there are neighbors or family members that have kids that just aged out of certain things. You don't have to buy any clothes if you're lucky enough to have like an older brother or sister that just went through that. Yeah, but it's changed a lot, and people don't live near each other so much anymore, and yeah. I'm drawing a bunch of weird cushions. So that kind of stuff is affected a lot too. Yeah, it's crazy. But hopefully, the cost of having a kid will be much lower once we realize not everyone has to go to university, and university has been kind of a scam for anybody that's going to go into communications or, media arts or whatever. It's a lot of like bullshit liberal arts programs that people have paid huge money for. And they could have just entered the industry at that age as an intern or whatever, like still living at home with their parents. They could have started, get some, internship or volunteer job and start breaking into an industry instead of wasting money having people that failed in that industry tell you, how to work. But there's so much of that nonsense. And now the internet has just provided people with, infinite ways to, monetize what they want to do. I have no idea what any of this is. Couch cushions made from ham. But yeah, it's funny. Custom cakes. There we go. Yeah. The custom cake world. Yeah, I don't know. I can't stop the cartoons that are just a weird collection of stuff. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, that's a good point, Joe. It definitely a basic level of education that will put you in a job should be free. Because, and why wouldn't it could? Well, I don't want to talking like I do with a Bernie Sanders imitation, but or impersonation. But if you think about like companies would be willing to train people, to train you, to educate you in the way that would be very perfect for them. So why not be basically recruited or solicited or scouted by companies when you were in high school to go to their school for free with an option to work for them, or with the intent of they're training you in the way that they want their employees to be, and so they're going to give you a free education. Why aren't corporations running these schools? Why are they making it like an additional private business that's educating people and creating those networks? That the schools are creating the networks that get people placed in certain companies and things. That should be the responsibility of the companies, and then they would have much more like ready to hit the ground running kind of employees. But yeah, because that was the thing that was really cool. The school that I went to in LA had just their job fair was really strong, and a lot of people just started interning and doing things during the summer that like put them right into working for that studio as soon as they finished school. But what if that whole thing was run by those studios? So they would be training you, because it doesn't have to be, it isn't as expensive. The price of that isn't as expensive as it would be, and have a lot of it be actually on, the training would actually be on the job training, or whatever that's called, practical. So they could get something out of you while giving you an education. I don't know. It just seems silly. But I think, though, maybe I'm underestimating a lot of the difficulties, especially with like corporate secrets and kind of private information and things. You could just be creating a bunch of competitors. You could just be training the next person to create your big rival if you weren't careful about it. But that's very much how it is here. You don't get your education paid for, but schools like really funnel you into, like, if you get a medical degree here, there's a hospital waiting for you on the other end of that. And a lot of career choices are like that, where a company is you're just you basically have applied for a job before your last year of school, so after you graduate you know exactly where you're going. So there's some pressure with that, but also kind of a nice career path, kind of pre-selected career path. The problem is the weird competition, or the weirdness of like people here. The best. I always want the best. I want to work for the best company. I want to go to the best school. And if you're not at that level, if you're not the best student, choosing the best school because it's the best, of course I would want to go there, is a weird thing. So you have a lot of competition for the of course highest paying but best reputation companies, and no competition for the middle. So people can just easily slot themselves into like the second or third choice, and then all the people that fail at the top end up going to their like 8th, 9th, 10th choice. They end up going to the bottom when they fail. So that's an odd thing that happens here, where people don't understand their abilities, or their like what would be a good fit for them. They don't think about like fitting in and like matching a company culture, or matching kind of the level of competition or whatever you'd have to maintain. They just want the best. So this company has the reputation as the best, so that's where I want to work. So that ruins that a little bit, because people compete for real top spots. Yeah. It's not free. The state schools, not public schools, or I guess what would you call them? I'm trying to think of what the terminology is. Private schools here are expensive, and there are no scholarships. Scholarships here are loans. So if you win a scholarship, or you apply for a scholarship, basically you have to pay back that money after you graduate. So they're not scholarships; they're student loans, basically, like privately funded student loans, which is really weird. But the big schools like a Tokyo University or Kyoto University are the I guess like state schools. I can't think of a good terminology. They're not private. They're publicly funded schools, but the competition to get into them. So the cost is very low, but the competition to get into them is very high. So your chances of getting in are much less, and then you'll have to go to like a lower tier state school. But the best schools in Japan are state-run schools. And then there's a lot of private schools that specialize. Like some of their departments are better for they have certain yeah, certain good quality programs, and then a lot of filler garbage that nobody should be at that school for, but people kind of get stuck doing if they've kind of failed, yeah, to make good choices. But yeah, no free education, and I'm not sure about like sports, like athletics scholarships and things, because that's a good way, especially in America, that makes your education free. Is playing, for a team, is being scouted for a university athletics program, but I'm not sure. I will be finding out soon. I'm sure. I'm still in the junior high school, worrying about junior high school mindset, but yeah, it's not. I don't think you can get a completely free education. I think trade schools you may be able to get free education. I don't know. But yeah, but I know that like the best schools, the schools with the highest reputation, basically the Ivy League of Japan is state-funded schools, which is, yeah, maybe opposite of the U.S. thinking. But compared to American universities, Japanese universities have none of the facilities, even the really rich private schools that do a ton of advertising and a huge investment in the schools. So they are constantly doing new construction and everything. Their facilities are just tiny and underfunded and inadequate. And I mean, like, my experience has just been like laboratories, like research and laboratory sizes and things. In Japan, they're so tiny and the resources are so small, and so much is shared between researchers or different labs that compared to the huge amounts of funding and facilities and things that American schools have. And I think that's what keeps people, going to American universities, is just the scale of what you can do is so much bigger, and you can get funding for things, and just, get a lot more done as a researcher. So that just still keeps people going to America. But then I think there's the issue of owning your research and all that good stuff. But yeah, that's just a little bit of experience that I have so far. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do a lot more research about university when the time comes, because yeah, it's difficult. And there's a lot of like, you go to certain high schools because they can recommend you for different universities, and some only recommend you to the public universities, which is huge because that gives you a good education, a good placement in a very competitive situation. But that also means that those high schools are highly competitive. So you're going to have to be in an upper percentile of your class, and you're going to have a lot of competition to do that, and you won't get the recommendation unless you are in that right level of whatever class or whatever field you're looking at. So yeah, it's a funny system. It's a hyper competitive. I mean, it just makes a lot of stuff in the U.S. look pretty pretty easy. There's just hyper competitiveness for a lot of situations in Japan, and I think they a lot of people are really driven by that. But it also, like, it can just wreck you. If you fail, you've been super competitive. You're just being a bad loser, and not getting what you wanted is going to wreck you mentally. There's a lot of people, and I think even in America, there's people that went to Ivy League schools that just end up tending bar in New York because they just kind of get burnt out and just kind of lose it. Yeah, the healthcare is much better than the kind of school system. I think in Japan, there's a national insurance that you can get that covers. I mean, you never pay more than like $20 or $30 a doctor visit. Everything else is taken care of. So your copay is really low, and it takes care of everything. And all of the drugs and everything that are covered are, it knocks the price of them down to nothing. So yeah, nobody is wrecked by healthcare, and so that encourages people here to go to the doctor a lot. So hospitals and clinics are very, very busy because anytime someone goes, they go to they go to the clinic. So people really regularly, especially older people, visit their doctor. So they monitor their health, so things are caught very early, like Alzheimer's or cancer or things are caught very, very early because of the kind of hyper vigilance that people have with their health and going to the doctor. So yeah, so that's a bit different. And I think it keeps healthcare costs lower because you don't have people that never go to the doctor and then suddenly collapse and are brought in by ambulance and then need extensive surgeries or whatever. They keep on top of those big problems when you have people that ignore that. It's crazy. Yeah, right. Yeah, that is really crazy. Yeah, the the difference is though, you go into the a clinic or hospital in the U.S. and most of the time it's brand new. The latest equipment, the latest techniques, the latest drugs. Everything is the best you can get, and whether good or bad. I mean, I think the pharmaceutical industry kind of coerces, still coerces doctors into prescribing things they shouldn't be prescribing. But here, you go to the doctor, and it's kind of like going back to the 1960s. It's a little bit of time travel. Offices are really old. Equipment is really old. They're working with just like minimum, so they don't have hyper funding. I think it's unless you're a heart surgeon or a brain surgeon, have a really strong specialty. Being a doctor here is not a super wealthy career. You're kind of more of a factory worker, especially because of how many people go through the system. In the big hospitals, you can definitely see that it's very they process thousands of people a day, so patients, they see thousands of patients a day, so it's very it just feels like yeah, factory work. It's just next. um so it's different. It's very yeah, very different here, but it's still it's still regarded as an admirable if you have a medical degree, people still have a lot of respect for that here, but it doesn't come with the salary, and nothing in Japan comes with the salary. That's the funny thing is they talk about that a lot, how when they look at actors or athletes or singers or CEOs of companies in America, and they have these insane salaries and these insane bonuses and just millions and millions of dollars being thrown at them. There's nothing like that here. So you're basically, your position is your reward. And you're not financially compensated for your position as much as in other places. So, and I'm not sure. I mean, I think I don't know. I think there's reasons for that and why it works and why it's that way in the U.S. But yeah, and it's not necessary here, which is odd. And I think it would create a kind of, I don't know. It would just be weird. But yeah, so people, so like the heads of the biggest companies in Japan are not insanely rich. They're wealthy, but they're not insane. They're not like Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos kind of wealthy. They're not billionaires. And so it's a big difference. And so yeah, people see their responsibility of that position differently, and because people aren't so mercenary here, they're not so selfish and like willing to work for the biggest paycheck. They'll just like jump ship to whatever company. Like if you are working for a company, you're very loyal to that company, and if you're appointed to a higher position, that's the reward of your loyalty to that company. So loyalty is a much bigger thing here, and you so you don't have to overpay people to keep them loyal to you. It's not like, mercenaries where you're just constantly worried that they're going to turn on you if you don't, keep them under control with with money. So much less mercenary, so you don't have to overpay people just so they don't turn on you and start their own company or go to the competition and destroy you. Yeah. Yeah. I think people are less. I mean, in a different way. Like greed, Japanese greed, I think is different from American greed, and it's just it's oddly different. And there's just a lot of things that you do and don't do to kind of show off your status and wealth here. That's very different from the U.S. Yeah, it's funny. But it's an interesting difference. And so the one professor at the university complains about that a lot. It's the financial rewards in Japan are not so. I mean, because when you go to international meetings, you're interacting with a lot of people from different countries that have their research funded by a lot of different sources and things, and it's just so discouraging to see how overcompensated and over funded, over equipped. I can't think of a good word. A lot of people are for much lower level research, much less less beneficial research than a lot of the stuff that goes on in Japan. So they have to do a lot more with less. But the quality, of the research here is so good. Yeah, it's very funny. It's very funny. All right, what's going on? Let's just do something completely different. Done too many drinks, I think, lately, though. Yeah, definitely a different kind of greed. And status goes a long way. If you can give somebody a position at a company with a business card that has Sony or Toyota or some very recognizable, very old company here, that means so much. So that's part of their compensation. They don't need to be compensated as much financially because of the status of that job. It's funny. So, and the assumption that then you're a high quality person and you're comfortable financially, comfortable goes along with that, but that's not necessarily the case. Yeah, it's very funny. It's an odd thing. Yeah, I don't know. Very, very odd. Yeah, just a different kind of cultural priority. Oh, same layer. Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. The greed is crazy, and the self-serving kind of I think mercenary is but there's probably a better word for it, but that mercenary thinking that you're training your enemies, and anytime you have like new employees coming to your company, you have no idea who's gonna like try to rip you off. But it's it's a funny thing, and the rewards for the system kind of rewards for greed, and I think that is the gimmick. That's the America's gimmick that nobody else has kind of run with. Is the if you set up a system, set up a country that like plays to or favors like the worst parts of human nature, greed and racism and cutthroat competition, and if you create a system that favors that, then it's going to be pretty unstoppable, because you can always count on people being miserable to each other. So if that benefits them in society, there's actually like cultural rewards for that, then you're going to have a strong economy. You're going to have things are going to keep going good because of that. And so, but when you create a system that favors, you know, the best parts of human nature and human kindness and human goodness, you're going to be often disappointed. If your system is built around sharing, I don't think it's going to be built to last. Yeah, that's the sad part, I think, of the American experiment. It just proves how terrible people are, because yeah, it plays towards everyone's worst thoughts. What am I doing here? Yeah, that's very wonky looking. Yeah, it's a very very funny thing, and the way that I mean, I think it gets, you know, kind of culturally modified, but the way America has exported a lot of their bad thinking. I mean, I think China would be a much nicer place had it never manufactured anything for the American market, or, you know, made deals with American companies. I think it might be a much nicer place. But that kind of greed is so contagious, and it, like, when you can kind of amass it, when the political system like helps you amass it at the top just naturally, that's brutal. Wow. So something else. Stop complaining about. Yeah, anything? Yeah, there really hasn't been. I still keep printing. Oh, did we lose K5? Oh no, K5's still here, yeah. Nice. Yeah, just been doing more printing. Yeah, I'm really enjoying the resin printer much more than my battles with the I'm confusing FDM and SLA. The SLA printer, yeah, was yeah, frustrating. I had trouble right away with the head and the surface and everything, but the resin has been, yeah, problem free and much less delicate. Like, I really got the impression from like a lot of the tutorials about how to set it up and level it and everything that it was very delicate. The mechanisms and everything you had to be very careful with, and everything was, but it's pretty tough. I mean, you know, because you're cleaning things up with alcohol and everything, so nothing is particularly yeah, I mean, the prints are a little delicate. But the machine and the mechanism itself is not as you know, kind of fiddly and easy to ruin or easy to damage as I thought. Yeah, I don't know, I just had this weird idea that it was easy to ruin, you know, like the screen or the sheet that that the prints are pulled off of. I always thought that was easy to destroy, but yeah, pretty tough. All right, what is going on here? Yeah, I don't want to do one of those what is it mystery cartoons. Yeah. Yeah, that's the crazy thing, is how like a car accident or a serious medical condition can just wreck an entire, not a person's life, a whole family's life, because like somebody's son who has a family gets sick. He's the breadwinner. So that family loses their ability to support themselves, and then his parents try to help, and they mortgage their house to. Yeah, it's really, really crazy how that can just get so out of control in the U.S. And they just let it. I mean, they just let people fall into these traps. It's really crazy. Yeah, but so there's none of that. That's the interesting, or the most comforting thing about Japan is there's none of that because of that nationalized healthcare insurance system. There's none of that. There's no, like, you will be destroyed by an illness, or your family will be ruined for generations, by an illness, or car accident or something. Yeah, it's nothing like that can happen. Which is good too, because the cancer rates here are pretty high. It's surprisingly high. All right. Yeah, very crazy. Okay. Just keep doing something. A little carton of milk. But yeah, it's weird. I wonder if they can ever, because I was talking about that with the one game group. We just had a night where we didn't play a game. We just kind of sat and got drunk and bullshitted online. And yeah, there's just a couple of those problems in the U.S. that just are not really solvable, because the difficulty with sorry, scratching my nose. The difficulty with like nationalized healthcare now in the U.S. is, okay, what's the appropriate level? And there are so many people that are in such unhealthy, like there's so much obesity, and so many medical conditions caused by this hyper obesity that have to be solved, kind of lifestyle wise and culturally, and stop some of these companies manufacturing this like over processed garbage that gets people basically addicted to that happy, salty, sugary feeling. It has to be solved much before the healthcare insurance part of it. So if you want to nationalize insurance, how are you going to pay for all of those people that have adult diabetes and health conditions and things because of morbid obesity? We can't, and that's the weird thing too, is you can actually, your company, I don't know if they can fire you, but they can punish you, maybe even dock your salary. I think they can actually freeze your salary, or punish you financially some way if you're too heavy. So if you're too fat in a Japanese company, and that's hysterical, because I can't imagine, with all the the body shame and the fat acceptance, not fat, whatever it's called. I guess maybe it is fat acceptance movement and things in America. I can't imagine a company doing that in America, but in Japan, you can literally say, you're this tall, you need to be this weight or less, and or else you're not healthy enough to work here. These are our requirements. So an office job can have the requirements of like a modeling position, because they can literally say, oh, for your height, you need to be this weight. You're not this weight. You need to lose weight, and then everything's fine. If you don't, there's going to be problems. And it's not all companies, but yeah, I think a lot of the major companies, like literally, because you have an annual health check. Your company provides insurance, but then they also require you to have an annual health check, which is odd, because people smoke like crazy here. Like, smoking is still very common. So it seems like that's a pre-existing condition that's going to make everything kind of expensive and your life a little bit shorter. Um, so smoking is allowed, but obesity is not. Yeah. So that is a thing that I think creates a tremendous hurdle for improving the healthcare system in America. Is the amount of healthcare that would be needed initially could like bankrupt the country because yeah, there's so many like crazy unhealthy people. And there's good reasons that they're in that situation. It's a lot of it is cultural, but how do you set the level of how you're going to cover everyone, because there's a huge range. And so then because Americans won't tolerate people saying, you need to lose weight or we won't insure you anymore, or you need to jog however many miles a day, or else we won't pay for your insurance. And it just, you can't do that. Yeah, so I have no idea. Yeah, Japan is very anti-communist. They stab communists with swords here in Japan, or socialists, I guess. But no, Japan like resisted really hard, the encroaching communism in post World War II that took Vietnam and Korea and everything. But yeah, but they do look out. They do look out for people. But it's a funny thing. It's funny what that does, because it's a lot more okay to discriminate. I mean, because everyone's the same basically. It's much more homogenous here. So when there aren't racial and ethnic differences, like dramatic racial and ethnic differences, it's very easy then to discriminate based on appearance and weight. And yeah, that's really funny that you can be so critical of people's physical appearances, because it's like, hey, I'm not discriminating against them in any other way but a physical way that should be under their control. If you've just decided that should be something you can control, then yeah, you can you can threaten their job over it. It's really wild though. That's a very funny difference. And so then a lot of Western people that come here are outraged and kind of disgusted by that, because they're looking at it in context of their more multicultural, diverse countries, where if you would draw certain lines or make certain accusations, some racial or ethnic or certain things would line up with those conditions that you were drawing, and that would create a huge amount of problems. But here, not quite the same. Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah, the cancer is a lot of smoking and a lot of weird. I think Japan is still. I mean, well, we're breathing garbage Chinese air a lot of the time too, so that doesn't help. They said like the mercury level in the air at the top of Mount Fuji is actually really dangerous. So people that like, if you were going to be one of those like, every year I climb Mount Fuji and that's my like whatever, that's your sense of having a good healthy life, like actually it's gotten so unhealthy they would recommend you not do that, because the air at the top has high mercury levels, so you'll probably go insane. You'll probably become mentally ill from all that mercury. But so we are, and because all of Asia, it does a lot of like filthy manufacturing and a lot of pollution from a heavy industry. We're still subjected to that, even though I think Japan has tried to sort that out domestically. We can't get away from our very near neighbors, doing all sorts of things to make leather quickly, or plastics or whatever. All right, what am I doing here? Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what's going to be the answer. And right now, oh yeah, I don't think America is in a good position to resolve or compromise on anything. I mean, I think people are like pretty dug in their positions. No idea what what that's gonna look like. Ah, all right. What is all this nonsense? Hmm. What's like packages left on the by the front door? I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to do more. I think I've been doing a lot of drinks, glasses full of things lately. I like these, but I have no idea what they are. Uh, hmm. Just keep going here. Make some room. Yeah, right, right. Yeah, that's true. That's weird. Japan chooses to be like rabidly capitalist, but also like yeah, very socialist in a lot of its programs. Yeah, very, very funny. I'm gonna come up with some better ideas. I don't know. Oh, I can't even think about how to draw this. It's gotta be like that. Trying to draw a staple gun. And then like that. I guess that kind of works. Oh, yeah, that's right. But this hinge is gonna be weird. Yeah, maybe we'll just fake it. That's too detailed, though. I can't put eyes on it or anything. But I can put many staples. Yeah, or maybe I can do some of this with just shading. It doesn't have to be lines. Yeah, that makes more sense. All right, K5. Thanks for hanging out. Good to see you. Enjoy your earlier route. I hope, but that means earlier finishing, so that's good, right? You get done earlier. Take it easy, and thanks as always for stopping by. It's fun to catch up. Yeah, once a week. It's really nice to be able to know where like everyone's at and how things are going. I'll just keep drawing weird stuff. So what's a weird equivalent of a staple gun? Or just maybe just like a desktop stapler. All right, old classic swing line stapler. I have no idea if I'm getting this right or not. Yeah, I won't do that. Maybe here. I need to. All right. Maybe just use this. All right. Yes, I think that works. Yeah, I'm doing a little too much detail in these drawings, I think. They're not as generic as they could be, because I'm trying to think of how to put eyes on any of these things. I guess here works okay. But this would need to be just a little smaller than the... Alright, and then smaller staples that are not stuck in anywhere. I don't know. How did I get to staples? From what I was doing before, let's see how this looks on a bigger scale. Yeah, these are odd drawings, but something differently. Nice. Yeah, we'll go with that. I guess I'll just do like a silver standard kind of silver staple gun, and then maybe like a red swing line stapler. That works. Oh, and then the mysterious boxes of stuff. Yeah, oh boy. I don't know about this week. Alright, let's do some colors on here. So just suggest some different packaging. That's not closed, is it? Maybe red. Trying to think of like condom box colors. Maybe a blue or red. Something like that. There we go. All right. Yeah, I'm still running into that problem with my new schedule. So the cartoon for today until maybe 5 o'clock Japan time hasn't even gone out yet. So when we do comments, they don't exist. Nobody has seen the cartoons yet, especially in North America. So yeah, it's not a perfect plan. I guess I have to just like work ahead, or I guess work behind a little bit, and then look at the previous 2 weeks instead of this week. Yeah, that's gonna create all kinds of trouble. Yeah, something maybe darker blue. I guess like a pink-ish. Okay. So what exactly was any of this? All right. Yeah, it's easier just to do this by hand. Every box is a little weirdly different. to see with this, yeah, how different each of these colors is going to deal with this. And maybe get rid of this. There we go. That's the good thing about being zoomed in. Yes, somebody will probably say something common. Eggplant brand condom. Wait a minute here. I gotta fix this. Yeah, when these are bigger, I can see the weird errors. Looked fine. Small, but yeah. This. Oops, these more even. Yeah, I'm sure. We'll get some condom comments. So this will just be the okay. Some oh yeah, maybe just like some writing, the brand. Oh, yeah, this one, maybe I can't do it here because of eyes, but maybe up here. There we go. So a little bit more highlighting. Shiny boxes. Oh wait, and then here. All right. Eggplant. You're funny, Joe. Yeah, I wonder if the Go Comics audience would pick up on that, if they would get the reference. All right. So they're different flavors, different, yeah, some kind of variations of something, but they don't even know what the differences are. Oops. There we go. All right. Oh, no. Yeah, that was just what I was talking about with the... too many options, too many choices. Oh, man. All right. So that one kind of works. All right, staplers. VLST. Nice. Whoa. Somebody didn't close the lines on their drawing. Let's see if I can find that right here. Oh, maybe here too. All right, that should fill. So I need that, yeah, gray that I can make kind of look silvery. Yeah, that works. And then here. Whoa. Ah, this one's got a leak too. Yeah, right in the back. I'm going to keep that red. I think that was a good red. So here, and that's it. Ah. Okay, how about this? There we go. But I think the bottom of the swing line is actually like a dark gray. Like that. Oops. There we go. Like this. Something like that. And then I'll make this the little metal striking plate. Sure. Oh, this one is pretty monotone. There we go. Oops. Supposed to be like that. Yeah, I think this will work. Actually, I have to write swing line on there, don't I? All right, the excitement of coloring. This is where I always run out of things to talk about. Because I usually just say what I'm doing. Yeah, that works. All right, and then a little bit of some shininess here. Oh, and I need to write it. What is that? I can't think of how that's written. I'll just do like a pink. There we go. And then some highlights on the stapler. Staple gun. And then also some ways to make it look metallic. There we go. All right, look at that. Those are very odd drawings. Oh, and it's going to be really hard to put eyes on that, isn't it? I'll have to think of something clever. So, do some staple shadows. There we go. Let's go in a little bit and make sure I didn't, yeah, I did miss anything. Yeah, drawing these too zoomed out, I really get some weird Weird lines going on. All right. Oh, maybe there's some highlighting here that would look good. You got to remember this gets so small. The final version, a lot of that detail disappears. Nice. Oh no. Yeah, that would suck if that was like every day stapling. Yeah. It's so amazing now they've got those copiers, those insanely expensive copiers that like print out reports and they come out stapled, like they come out bound or stapled or whatever. There's so many insane technologies now. So a lot of stuff you don't even have to do by hand anymore. Alright, so let's try to put some eyes on these poor little staplers. Maybe the next one. Alright. So that looks maybe here? I don't know. Yeah, that might work better. Let's see if I can line this up a little. There we go. Staplers. All right. Well, let's take a quick break and look at some comments from last week. Let me refresh and see if we even... Oh yeah, so no comments, but somebody did see. Somebody did see them. All right, let's switch over real quick. All right, so here's the sweaty... Oh, that's right, the blind taste test, right? The conclusion of every name brand cola... name brand cola taste test is a shared feeling of profound emptiness. Profound. Yeah, I spelled everything right. Nice. Yeah, so this just came out. Yeah, people just started being able to see this in the US, so it's not going to get much of a reaction. The Jell-O. So May 13th was most plates were incapable of holding conversations. Never mind the precious cargo of gelatin desserts. Okay, here comes whatever you do. Don't mention fruit salad complex. Nice. I prefer my Jell-O in shot form. Nice. No prolonged conversations, but lots of idle gossip. The dessert were in reality. Ew, tomato aspic. What? Oh no. All right. Wow, lots of comments. Yeah, it's crazy. The thing I liked with that place. Oh, that's cool. Well, that's always a good thing. All right. So a couple of randoms. Yeah, the drawings have been a little odd recently. Come on, random. All right, 2014. So being free with $20 of gasoline actually made him the more expensive beverage and therefore better. Such a deal. Yeah, right. $20 of gasoline is who can only buy $20 of gasoline. Yeah, that's a weird thing they've just done in Japan. Is that so? These like standard, old style Starbucks lids with a little slot where they stuck the little green stopper in there. Now they switched over to more like the gas station coffee, like little those solo coffee cup kind of lids that you pull up and kind of click into place. Yeah, Starbucks for some reason changed their, and maybe it's just in Japan they changed their supplier for cups, but now they don't look like it's recognizable. They look more like a standard, like cheap coffee cup. So they must have done something, and they've got a real weird waxiness to them too. The cups at Starbucks are very odd. I don't know what they're trying to do. Maybe it's just recycled materials or something they have to change, but very odd. Oh. Yeah, random is not liking to be clicked on. His efforts at self-improvement didn't seem to be working. Ha ha ha. 2016. It was 2006. Completely unnoticed. After jogging, the sweat sock was certain he was being punished for something. He could now add toast to his list of achievements, and he was proud of it. 2008. One pin. There were so many less disgusting things he'd rather be absorbing. Yay. Disgusting liquid jokes. Wow, look at that pizza and donut box. Lots of colors going on there. He immediately regretted bringing home leftover pizza. Come on. Somebody should have noticed that. It might have gone out at a weird time. Ooh, there's a wonky hand-drawn one. Ah, yeah. Hey, Hypno, how's it going? Even simulated mayonnaise was a better name than sandwich spread. Oh, that's right. Yeah. It ends up salad dressing. Oh, what a... Yeah, there's a little bit better drawing. Oral hygiene was hard on relationships and the germs that cause bad breath. Yuck, yuck, yuck. 2011. Oh, look, an ATM joke. Balance inquiries often undermine both financial and self-worth. Oh, no. Another 2006. Yeah, this is another, I think it was a sticker back in the day. Back in the Comic-Con days. I think the donut box was made it as a sticker. With the exception of a few stray sprinkles, the donut box felt empty. And 2019, that was an on-stream. Yeah, wow, the line quality is all over the place. The chicken pot pie was far less hearty and satisfying than she imagined. It's difficult to find a good one. All right. Oh, 2005. That's an oldie. Yeah, that's from like the first year of drawing these. Even after all the exotic drinks, the blender's wanderlust did not subside. Oh, exotic drinks from everywhere. Wow, this is an old one, but it got a little of attention. Look at how hand-drawn that is. Yeah, so the very thin, like the line almost had there's no variation in width or anything, and very wonky. But charming. That was the early charm. All right, 2018. The bookmark was terrified when he realized that any slip of paper was equally qualified to do his job. Wow, lots of love there. Oh. That looked like a real $100 bill. The lady sitting near me thought I was showing off. Yeah, I lit my cigarette. All right, last one. Oh, yeah. I talked about it a little bit on the weekly. Yeah, thanks for noticing, Hypno. Yeah. So I came in. There were three guys. I guess there was a fourth, and then he dropped out right away. Three guys that were doing that podcast for a couple of years, almost 10 years ago, and it was just an audio podcast. And I found it. I was playing role-playing games with one of the guys. He told me about the podcast. I started listening. I really liked kind of the stuff that they were doing, and then they stopped for a year. I just got busy. Everyone got married and had kids, and they kind of stopped for a year. And then in 2015, I said, well, I'll produce it. Why don't we start doing this again? And so kind of randomly, I got different members of the podcast together when they had time. We started a YouTube channel and did a bunch of things. And then just, started having creative differences. And then when the kind of lockdown and pandemic stuff started, I just started producing a bunch of stuff myself, and they didn't really have any input on it, and kind of got frustrated because it was their original idea, their original brand name. So we just kind of grew apart with what we wanted to do with the channel, and I really liked what was going on with YouTube and live streaming and everything, and none of them really wanted to deal with that, and they didn't like kind of changing. Like every week we were kind of looking at a different game or looking at something new, and not being able to stick with anything and enjoy like one game system or one campaign of tabletop stuff wasn't very satisfying. And so I was doing a lot less of what the original thing was about. And because it was their original name and everything, we talked about it, and they didn't know if they'd have time to actually go back to it or do anything with it, but it was their name originally, so I didn't want to keep going and have it become something that wasn't theirs. And if it got successful, then that would always be kind of a frustrating thing for them, is I just took a name of something that they had started and took off with it. So I just decided the best thing to do would just be rebrand and leave them that name, and then all that original content still exists on their website, and the original Idle Red Hands website. And then I would just keep doing what I kind of started doing during the pandemic, like a lot of unboxings and live stream stuff and painting. Like doing a lot of miniature painting I think more recently, and just so we can still work together as Idle Red Hands, but it's not going to be a regular thing. And I wanted to do more of a regular tabletop channel, and the weekly was something that only one of the original guys was involved with. So they were all kind of frustrated that they didn't all have a voice in what was going on. And so I think the weekly was the beginning of kind of the fracture of the different thinking and doing things differently. So yeah, Idle Red Hands will still exist, and I might still be involved doing something with it, but I'm going to kind of continue what I started in Idle Red Hands as the Upturned table branding. So yeah, just kind of decided to amicably part ways on what I was doing. I don't think and they didn't really even have time, and because of the one of the guys moved even further away, so they're about 2 hours away, so we can't physically meet up. Even if there's a chance to physically meet, there's not the ability to. Online stuff wasn't like virtual tabletop and the using Discord or whatever wasn't going particularly well. So yeah, it was just a way to kind of separate things. So there was no hard feelings anymore. I wasn't taking their brand into some weird direction. It could kind of stay as it was. If they never do anything else with it, it's still going to be a great archive of RPG kind of topics and discussions. And then I have the freedom to kind of take it whatever direction I want and continue to do what I've been doing. So yeah, if you haven't, please take a look at the Upturned table on YouTube and subscribe to that channel, and you'll get notifications of the kind of weekly update show we do live every Friday at lunchtime here. So maybe Thursday evening in other parts of the world. Yeah, but it was just just the best way to kind of, before things got ugly, and there wasn't really any money involved yet. So before there was money involved and we started to be frustrated with the direction versus what was making money, it was probably best to just part ways, because they never, I think, intended it to be a money making venture. It was just something satisfying that they wanted to do together, because it was all like a mutual hobby. That tabletop gaming and things was a mutual hobby. And so I'd like to see it become more successful and see it make money, and I don't think that was another kind of part of the split. So yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, thanks, Hypno, I appreciate that. Nice. Yeah, the timing is odd. It's really, and that whole weekly thing came out of it was the only opportunity to meet face to face, like actually in person. And because Chris works with such a shitty company, and they didn't give them any time off or any option to work remotely through the pandemic, I was always able to meet Chris for lunch. So yeah, so that's what we did throughout everything. So that continued, and without that weekly thing, that was another kind of it was so frustrating because the timing when I started working with Idle Red Hands and then set up the YouTube channel, YouTube was doing all their shenanigans with changing the partnership program, and the requirements were changing like every month, and it was getting really frustrating to do that. And then also the how the original site was set up, the plugin, or the, you know, it was a WordPress site, and whatever they were using technology wise, the developer just abandoned their project, so it no longer got updated. So there were obviously then security flaws and things. So a lot of the podcasting platforms like listing services, or like Stitcher and Apple podcasts and things, just delisted everybody that was using that old plugin. So the plugin or the podcast just disappeared because of this expired plugin. So I had to totally rebuild and recreate the RSS feed to get things going. So we lost all the subscribers. That was like 3 years ago, 2 years ago. And then so I rebuilt everything from there, and then figured I had to do something regular to keep things updated and to build subscribers again. And so I was able to do that again. So that rebuild that happened 2 years ago basically was just all me rebuilding a failed podcast. So that was part of the other reason to just kind of move on. And it was getting too much. A lot of the work of it was just getting to be too much of a solo job, and so yeah, it worked out best. But I'm still on good terms. I still game with all of those guys. We just don't have to make content out of everything we do now together. So I think that takes some of the pressure off, because that's the one thing when you try to make content out of your hobby, or live stream what's supposed to be fun. It for a lot of people that's not fun. They get really self-conscious on camera, or feel they have to perform or act differently if they know something's a live stream as opposed to just hanging out together. So to take that unnecessary pressure off, I think made things a little bit more fun, because any hobby that you try to turn a little bit more into a business, it suddenly can and lose its lose its fun part. All right, so I'm talking in front of my comments. I thought it was back on the screen. Yeah. Oh, cool. Thank you, Joe. Yes, thanks so much. Yeah, that's the weekly. I've got to work on that set. It's very low. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, so that's the latest. Oh yeah. That's a good idea. No, yeah. I should. There's got to be some people doing it, or Facebook groups or whatever that are doing just like cartooning, weekly cartooning, or I'm sure most people are doing daily cartooning. But yeah, I should look for a place to kind of generate some more interest. The Go Comics has been pretty good, and they're that's but that, I'm sure they would appreciate the promotion as well. But yeah, I should work to find some new ways to promote this recent nonsense. Yeah, very good idea. All right. So, well, yeah, let's write some of these. I think that'll be good timing. Then I'll show you the chocolate ball that is not a chocolate ball. It's the stupidest marketing I've ever seen. And I guess a company can have a lot of confidence, everyone knows this snack, so we can riff on the idea of our snack or whatever. It's very funny, but I'll show you that in a minute. The strange snack switcheroo. All right. So for the staplers, just forceful, or the wishing it was a gun, staple gun. Yeah. I don't know, something about the interaction or envy between those two ways to staple something. Yeah, the wishing they could be so forceful. All right, so let's see the I'm trying to think. I still remember teachers like designing bulletin boards and doing that thing where they open the they open the stapler, flatten, and just like smack the desktop stapler into the bulletin board to put construction paper, whatever, all over the. Yeah, that was a thing. I remember. I think that's like elementary school, but teachers designing bulletin boards, and they had that border. It was like corrugated paper, different colors that had like a wavy border, so they'd staple that around the outside and then put something. I'm sure it was a lot of like student drawings or whatever, but put something. So always designing bulletin boards. I can't imagine that being part of the work. All right. So realizing the variety of stapler, all kinds of types of staplers out there. There expanded his idea of what staples could do, what staples could be. So something silly like their chance meeting something about going beyond what staples can do, what staples are, or the idea of stapling. All right. Expanded. Nice. Going beyond. Yeah, something about changing his, opened up his mind to the possibilities of stapling. Okay. That's the. Should I put that in quotes? Did I spell anything correctly here? Oh, that just barely doesn't fit on one line. Their chance meeting opened. So maybe I don't need. Opened his mind to the possibilities of stapling. I wonder if that should be in quotes, like it's the concept of stapling. I would have never known the stuck stapler. Oh, yeah. The chance meeting opened his mind to the possibilities. Oh, to the something possibilities, to the further possibilities, to the Yeah, something. I don't know if endless. Yeah, that's the kind of cliche. The endless possibilities of stapling. All right. Endless sounds more. Their chance meeting opened his mind to the endless possibilities of stapling. All right. Yeah, that sounds more transcendental. Sure. If I make myself laugh because it's so stupid, then it might it has a chance of working. All right, and then this was the they had no idea what the difference was between them. So they didn't know if it was flavor, size, or yeah. So no idea what the difference was between them. Or being surprised they come within. Hey, how's it going? What would you call a person who became a lawyer? Oh no. Sorry. Let me go. I couldn't read. Yeah, sorry. My display is coloring your name. So hey, Arvin Beats. What would you call a priest who became a lawyer? I don't know. What would you call a priest who became a lawyer? Well, a father-in-law. Oh, nice. Very good. A father-in-law. Nice. Thanks for the joke, Arvin. Nice job. Uh-oh. Hypno's gonna contribute. Yeah, one of the most fun dinners I was at after one of the nights of Comic-Con. Went out with a couple of like old school cartoonists, and that's all they did is just like tell dirty jokes all night during dinner just to make each other laugh. And it's insane. It's insane the amount of like old dirty jokes that there are, and not really like nothing was racist or anything particularly like misogynist or anything, but just a lot of really stupid, funny, dirty jokes. And I guess that before, that was a more common type of social interaction. So the more stupid jokes you knew, the better. And old like limericks and stuff. That was the thing I was surprised. There's a lot of like dirty limericks. So the more drunk you get, the funnier it gets. But yeah, that was really that was great. That felt like a very old school evening. We were at a real old school restaurant too in San Diego. So that was like time traveling. It was very, very cool. All right. So they were not aware of their differences or surprised by their differences. Where can you find a dog with two legs? Where can you find a dog with two legs? I don't know. Where can you find a dog with two legs? Ah, right where you left it. Nice. Arvin's got the jokes. Oh, man. Nice. All right. So, very good. So size, flavor, so they didn't. I'm not sure. know why so many... put this in the right order here. Flavors, sizes, and colors were necessary. There's gotta be... They didn't know why so many flavors, sizes, and colors were necessary. Something like that. Like not having any idea why there should be such a variety. What do you call a broken can opener? I don't know. Hypno, what do you call a broken can opener? Broken can opener. A broke-ass can opener. Nice. Broke-ass can opener. Very good. Oh man. Yeah, that's funny. It's a lost. Nice one. A can't opener. I like Joe's broke ass. Broke ass can't opener is a nice nice addition. Okay. Yeah, something like this. Might be a better way to say this. The necessity of, or why that needed to be. Yeah, why they needed so many. What was so... yeah, so not saying what they are, I think is basically gonna be the joke, and letting people assume they're condoms or lip gloss or whatever. Yeah, I don't know, the shapes of those boxes is very weird. They didn't know why so many flavors, sizes, and colors were necessary. Why there needed to be. They didn't know why there needed to be so many. That's just adding extra words. Too cheesy. I know what they are, but I'm not telling. Yeah, originally I was just drawing things like, like I don't think a lot of things don't even exist anymore, but like, film, printer cartridges or film, what are those even called? The little play. Yeah, this is a film for a film camera, not a digital camera. I was going to color them like very specifically to that, but instead I think making them variations on one product would work a little bit better. Like just the mystery of why so many types of the same thing. That's close. They didn't know why. They didn't know why. So the condoms themselves don't know why there needs to be so many colors and sizes and flavors. Is that a comma or a... Yeah, there we go. They didn't know why so many flavors, sizes, and colors were necessary. I think that's a good order for those words. And flavors might throw people off as well. It won't obviously be condoms. They didn't know why. That might be the best. Sizes. Nice. Oh yeah, yeah, it does. Yeah, it does look like gum as well. Yeah, there was a funny news article a lot of years back where the Thai government released a health statement, like the health department, national health department in Thailand was telling men to stop buying extra large condoms because the incidence of so many women having to go to the emergency room or whatever to have condoms removed was getting a little bit out of control. And I guess the guys were buying the large condoms because the women would see the package of, oh, he's buying large condoms, but they couldn't use the condoms well. They didn't fit well. And so there was a lot of condoms coming off, and that's not a good thing. That's a very dangerous thing for women, especially if they don't know it happened. Because I think in a lot of cases you cannot know that it actually happened. But it got to be such a problem that the government made an announcement: stop buying all the extra large condoms. We know you don't need them. So funny. Yeah, but when it gets to the point where the government has to tell you that, that's pretty insane. They didn't know why. They weren't sure. They couldn't tell yet. They didn't know why. They were not quite, something a little more. Yeah, they were not quite sure. They were not quite sure why. Didn't know is more direct. Not quite sure is silly. Yes. Yeah, right. It does just make it worse if you've got some. Looks like you've got a big sock stuck on you. Yeah. Yeah, they weren't sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like, and I think maybe quite. They weren't quite sure. Just adds a little bit more. They weren't quite sure why so many sizes were necessary. Weren't quite sure why so many. Yeah, so they're almost figured it out. Not quite sure. Why so many flavor sizes and colors were necessary. And it could be anything. Yeah, so I'm not the syndicator. I did one cartoon a while ago, and I forget the profanity I used, like goddamn or something. It was very light profanity, but they said, yeah, don't do that, take it out. And instead of rewriting it, I just had them put a black bar over it, because kind of the joke was, so it could have been replaced by the percentage sign, exclamation point, that kind of like profanity, cartoony profanity writing. But I just had them put a black bar over because I thought that looked funnier. But and it was like, and they censored it too, like they specifically censored it, so I thought that looked nice to see that it was changed. But I forget, it wasn't anything. I don't think it was the F word. Maybe it was. I thought it was a lighter word, but I was just surprised. Yeah, they asked me to change it because, and the joke was the kind of the profanity, so that it being so, so upset or sounding, so angry about something so simple. But yeah, I don't know. All right, so I think we're good. I think I like that. They weren't quite sure why so many flavors, sizes, and colors were necessary. And their chance meeting. This one is particularly goofy. Oh, did I? Oh, I spelled possibilities completely wrong. There we go. There we go. Their chance meeting opened his mind to the endless possibilities of stapling. All right. You can do so much with a staple. Yeah, I think that will do it. And now it's time for some convenience store nonsense. Let me just make these a thing so I don't forget. I don't know how many times I've completely forgotten to put these on the FTP. All right, yeah, this is nice because I'm working ahead now. It's not good for the comments gimmick, but it's nice for the for working ahead because now I'm not doing it the day of, which is good. All right. But we'll have to see. Yeah, I'd really like to figure out a good schedule. It'd be a long stream, but I could do in one day, if I did like a crazy long, like 6-hour live stream, I could probably do a week's worth of cartoons in that time. Maybe I'll try that, because if I'm going to dedicate a day and do like a super long stream, that way I can interact with everybody. I won't be too early or too late for anybody. And then that might be a good experiment. I might try that sometime and see, and just do a solid week of cartoons. And if it's not insanely difficult to do, so probably not do too much else other than draw cartoons, because I'd have to do 7 in a live stream. Yeah. But then I could use everything that I drew. I could try to use for something. So what happens though when it becomes a daily cartoon, the quality kind of goes down a little bit. Like there's some good ones, but then there's a lot of obviously filler. So if you look through the early stuff, you can kind of see that when I was doing stuff for to be regular. Wait a minute, what's going on here? Oh, there we go. Yeah, when I did that previously, the quality goes down a little bit, but it's, if you're not if you don't need everything to be a home run, then it works well. I don't know, we'll see. Yeah, so keep working ahead. Yeah, because if I'm gonna get this far ahead, then it may be worth it to try to pull off weekly again. I really want to do that. I really need some patrons to do that. So if you're interested in seeing a weekly, like 6-8 hour live stream, like a big ass long live stream, and do 7 cartoons in a day, become a patron and make that happen. So patreon.com/abusecartoons. Yeah, but that's where I want to be with this, is back to a weekly cartoon, and then I can work harder. That would give me more content for merchandise and stuff. I can work on that as well. Oh. Ah, yes. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I'm curious to see what the reaction will be to just an inference. I've written some pretty weird innuendo cartoons. 24 hours stream. I would literally be hospitalized after a 24-hour stream. But yeah, if I could just do, it'd probably be more casual too. I would not talk as much, as I'm talking for 6 hours would make me mute for the rest of the week. But yeah, something like that. It would just be nice to get back to that level, because that'll increase the subscribers. I guess they technically are subscribers. The followers on Go Comics would increase if it was coming out weekly as well. Yeah, but 124-hour stream I think would be the end of me. I still remember I did almost a 48-hour editing session when I had to conform. So I had a work print of an animated film that I did, and I had to conform it, which means take your negative and cement splice everything together, because then send that then to get your prints pulled off of it. And it wasn't that long a film, like a 10-minute film or something, but yeah, it took me about 48 hours straight. And I remember it was like 7 a.m. or something when I finally walked out of the editing room, and my head was ringing. I could barely see that, like the morning sun felt so bright, and just like I couldn't do anything. I felt, yeah, but that was really bizarre. So it was a huge marathon session, and overnight, like they would lock you in because the security in the building was like downtown Chicago. So security in the building, they lock you in, so you couldn't go in and out. So you had to bring everything with you. You could get out during regular class, daytime hours, but overnight you couldn't. The building was locked down. So yeah, it was crazy. I can't do that. I was like, what, early 20s, late teens when I did that, so I can't do that anymore. All right, so let's take a quick look at where are my scenes here. All right, boom. Hey, back to the candy store. So let's take a look at the, what are these guys? Morinaga, yes. Morinaga. So Morinaga has done a lot of the snacks that we've seen before, and one of their kind of classic kids snacks is Chocoball. Chocoballs are just like little crunchy, not like the consistency of like a malted milk ball, but not malted milk. But they're crunchy chocolate deals, and let's see if I can stand that there. Sorry. And so they're kind of a very standard snack. So this is a weird, and I from the packaging, it doesn't look like it's for kids. It looks like it's more for adults. Oh, you can see this is the bird, the kind of toucan, the Morinaga toucan mascot. But this is Chocoball. So it says at the top, Chocoballs that are not Chocoballs, they're peanuts. So, okay. So these are Chocoballs that have no chocolate in them. They're only peanuts. And the thing that sold me, it's keying out, but there's a little melting pad of butter here in the top corner for these, like this illustration. So like, these have got to be good. They're buttery peanuts, right? So they're saying like, so this is another standard funny thing that they put on Japanese packaging a lot. So this is not, the actual product. It's just an image. So what's the, they often put like product, maybe picture, actual product different than pictured, or not as pictured as shown. They always have that like disclaimer. So they do that in Japan a lot too. This is just an image. It's not the real thing. So if you open this package and compare it, it's not going to look the same. This is just an image. And then they're talking about it's crispy on the outside and peanuts on the inside. I don't know, peanut what? Peanut flavor? Whatever. So this is the weird variation of a Chocoball, the peanut version. It's a very small bag, and it's black. You can see it's like a weird black. So I guess this is probably like a more adult snack. I don't know. No, they're really tiny though. Yeah, but I think this is the size. Whoop, there we go. This is the size of the Chocoball, and as you can see, not exactly as pictured. It's a little slightly different color. But let's see what this actually tastes like. So, crispy outside. Oh, it's not sweet. It's salty. Yeah. So that's the gimmick. So, and maybe that's why. Ooh, and really buttery. Whoa, it's really buttery. So, it's basically, let me see if I can bite one of these in half. I think it's just a peanut inside. Yeah, it literally is. Whoa. I don't know why they don't show that. Oh, do they? Oh, yeah, I guess they kind of do. This is supposed to be the cross section. But it is. It's literally a super buttery peanut inside a little crispy shell, similar to the Chocoball. But it's not sweet at all. So that must be why they're advertising it like more adult style. It's more an adult taste. So Chocoball is kind of a cookie outside, sweet kind of chocolate in the middle. And this is literally just a cookie, or not, like a cracker around a buttery peanut. It's pretty good. Usually a lot of their snacks are good. Their chocolate is just, it's kind of too sweet. It's, just like a kid's sweetness. So a little too sweet, not very chocolatey flavor. Wow, these are really good. They're weird. So different from, like, there's a lot of, like battered peanuts and a lot of different. So very different from that because very crunchy on the outside, salty and crunchy, and then inside is super buttery. Wow. Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, I gotta find out if the shipping has gotten better, because that would be fun to do. Is try stuff on the stream and get something that's like individual, like prepackaged versions of it, and then send stuff to you guys that I've tried on stream and see if you agree with my assessment. Like this wouldn't be good because obviously they're all just loose in there, but a lot of the times you'll have a big bag of something and then they'll be individually packaged, individual wrapped pieces. So that would be fun because I can just then split all those up and send you guys little packages of things, and we can compare our our reactions. Yeah, these are good. I'm not sure. It doesn't say limited. It does say butter though. Ooh. So it says there's no chocolate in there, but these are peanuts. Yeah, it's really good. Interesting. So now I understand the style of the packaging. It's weird though, they do try to put their little mascot in there, kind of very subtly designed. But it's definitely an adult snack, and it's a variation on the kind of kids little crunchy chocolate ball. Wow, this is really good. So the Morinaga chocolate ball that's not chocolate, it's actually peanuts, is really good. Yeah, I better be careful. I'm gonna start coughing on these little peanut pieces. Wow, that was really good. I'm not surprised. I like that when it. I just thought it was so funny that the whole advertising on the front of the package is like, "Hey, look, it's a chocolate ball, but there's no chocolate, and it's not. It's totally different." It's a really weird approach. All right. Oh yeah. So here's a quick preview. So I did like a color test for these little guys. So here are the little 10mm guys. They're not gonna be able to focus, are they? Or even be lit. This is my little 10mm guys that I've been 3D printing. So this is a color test for them. So I figured out a way to get my camera much more directly overhead, and so I'm going to try to kind of do the painting live stream coming up. But I wanted to kind of figure out what color I wanted everything to be first. But I think these will be okay. It's pretty tricky. They're really, really, really tiny. And because it's like guys that are all clustered together, there's places that are difficult to reach. But it's going to be, they're all going to be ranked up in little tiny. So these are little skeletons, if you can't see. These are little tiny skeletons. And so, yeah, look for that on Upturned table. I'm going to paint a whole vampire army and a whole kind of Arthurian knights. Grail Knights kind of army for old War Master, the old like early 2000s War Master game. So it's all like little ranked up fantasy miniatures. But I can't believe there's so many artists that are doing amazing art or amazing sculpts of these little characters, and they're generic fantasy. Like most of these are like Games Workshop, like Warhammer fantasy characters, but they chose to go with such generic fantasy that they really can't protect. They're not anything that they can trademark. It's just skeletons and dwarves and elves. This is all very standard stuff. So there's a lot of artists now that are doing little 3D sculpts, like STL files for 3D printing. And the thing that they're doing that's really cool is a kind of a retro style, because a lot of the old miniatures that they did in the 90s, because they're like doing kind of wax sculpts, and the metal needs to, because they're just using centrifugal molds. Those like they look like rubber from tires to do those metal molds. So they spin the molds spin, and I guess you can't have anything too fine or delicate because there's the risk that it's not going to make it all the way down to the the end of the mold, and it's also more fragile because it was all white metal. So hands are real chunky and weird, and the body proportions aren't so human sized. They're kind of this like cartoony, exaggerated size, just because then things would fill well. The metal would fill the mold well. So that doesn't is not necessary or doesn't need to exist anymore, because you can print any kind of fine detail or anything, but they still use that aesthetic. So the designers that are doing this kind of retro fantasy characters are using that same kind of aesthetic, and so at 10 millimeter it looks very funny and very recognizable, very nostalgic looking. So I can't believe, so maybe about half a dozen artists that they have Patreons, and they offer like free models for their Patreons, and then they take everything that they produced in a month for a certain game or whatever, and then put it on a store like a Gumroad store or some place that does digital file sales. And it's really cool. I mean, I didn't even know this existed, but if you've seen any of the Warhammer Total War game that Creative Assembly is doing, that's what the tabletop like should have been, or the kind of, it's a great computer simulation of what that tabletop fantasy war should have been. So people want to play that, but the company that made that killed that game completely. Like they killed their fantasy game and kind of remade it, and so this is really satisfying people's like kind of desire to play a physical tabletop version of that popular PC game now, because I think it's up to the third version of that is out. Like Warhammer Total War 3 is coming out, or just came out. So yeah, so that's what kind of got me to and it also gave me a good reason to try my printer. So look for that on Upturned Table. Nice. Oh yeah, I've loved a lot. That was a great thing about LA, is a lot of a lot of the snacks and stuff. The Mexican grocery stores were awesome places to try stuff. Nice. Yeah, that would be really fun. Oh yeah, we should swap snacks. That would be really good, because there's a lot of new American stuff I haven't seen or would never come to Japan. Yeah, that would be really fun. Yeah. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, so that's what I'll be doing over the next week or so. We might try to play something Friday. I don't know if the schedule is going to work, but we'll see. Oh, and my wife's getting vaccinated Friday, so I hope it goes well. I hope she doesn't isn't feeling really miserable after that. She's already been stressed out from work, and so yes, so she's kind of kind of a frontline worker, so she gets early access, because right now people can't get vaccine. They did like over 70, I think, over 80, some crazy age. So they prioritized the older people, and now they're doing people working at pharmacies and clinics and hospitals and stuff. So we'll see how that goes. So I may have to cancel all my plans if she's not feeling good. We'll see. But yeah, that'll do it for this week. So everybody, thanks for tuning in. And if this is your first time finding the stream, abusecartoons.com is the website. And the place where we looked at the comments was gocomics.com/domestic abuse. Those are all in the description below. And there's a Patreon, so patreon.com/abusecartoons. If you want to see those crazy 6-hour marathon sessions of cartoons. Yeah, I should make that a goal. Maybe I'll do that. I'll make that the goal for one of the Patreon levels. But and also on Twitch and YouTube is where this stream exists, so you can find the archive of all the previous streams there. And yeah, it's been a couple of years, so there's a lot there's a lot of cartoons to watch. So if you are looking at the archive and it's within the last couple of years, you can go back and look in the channel and watch me actually draw that cartoon and find out like go through the process of writing that or whatever. So if there is something really stupid and surprising that you find in the archives, like how did that come up? Because you can then watch the chat and then watch the creation of one of those cartoons, just like happened this week. So I'll be back next week, and Twitter as well, Abuse Cartoons, and yeah, that is everything, and then Facebook as well. So this shows up on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube under Abuse Cartoons. So yeah, we're so far behind, Joe. Yeah, it's really they're really slow because they were careful about choosing which vaccine they wanted to do, and then they're really slow about rolling it out. And also they're having kind of supply problems. Like America is like buried in doses of vaccine, and a lot of other countries are having supply problems because Japan has no domestic factories for producing vaccines. They're going to start building them now, but that means they're 2 years away. So they're going to build them now, though, because they realize that's a stupid thing to rely on other countries for, is vaccines. But yeah, so pretty fun, huh? We're just getting around to it. So, and I think we're having Olympics this year. I'm not sure. So we're not going to be vaccinated, but we're going to ask everybody to send their athletes to to compete. So I have no idea what the thinking is. So everybody take care. Yeah, Joe, K5, sleep well. Hypno, it was good to have you around, and thanks for the jokes. Thanks for the jokes on Twitch. Again from Arvin Beats. That was a fun drop in. So everybody take care, and thanks for watching, and we'll do this again next week. So yeah, and hopefully I'll find another snack as delicious as these tiny little buttery peanuts. Yeah, you can't go wrong with buttery peanuts. That's crazy. But yeah, take care and be safe, and I will be back next week with more convenience store cartooning and a lot of complaining. I'm sure there'll be something I'll have to complain about. So I'll see you then, and everybody take care. Goodbye.